This is Sam again. A little bit more upbeat this time. I've had a chance to go over a lot of things in my head in the last few hours. It's okay. It's going to be okay. I want to relate a story from my life to help demonstrate how foolish I've been in my life and discarded things that were perhaps the best thing in my life. Kind of casually, I don't know, mindlessly. I want to tell just maybe two stories before we get started. With the real story. But one is in California. I was there with Jackie mostly in the Bay Area, mostly in Hayward, California, and it's changed a lot since then. I visited much more recently. It's not the same Hayward that I knew. Different feel, totally different feel, different people there, just totally different feel. And I was there homeless, so it was difficult to see it any other way except as a homeless man in Hayward. The most recent time, on my way to Florida. But this was way before there's a story about my cat, the Boo. His nickname was the Boo, and he was lovely animal, and so affectionate. I felt like he was an animal version of me, and he loved everybody, and he was just so affectionate. But you try to give him a hug, and he's always pushing away. You try to give the guy a hug, and he's like, no, thou shalt not hug me. Do not try to hug me. And he pushed and pushed and he pushed it. And every time you try to hug the guy, he's always pushing away. But when he chooses to show affection, it's quite the other way. Purring and rubbing against your leg, and when you're not trying to hug him, he was the sweetest, most affectionate cat I've ever known. The Boo. Another, it might seem like an irrelevant story, but it's not to me. I was doing dishes at one point with the dishwasher in the kitchen in Hayward, and somehow it started before I closed it. So it activated before I closed it. Either the timer was set improperly or whatever in the wash cycle. It shot water in my face, and I involuntarily jerked back, and I had a sore neck for like 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. See, I couldn't control my reaction. It was just automatic. And I had a sore neck, really, really bad sore neck for at least 2 weeks, man. I didn't have to stay home from work or anything. It was just, I bore it, because of why? I reacted involuntarily. I couldn't control that. I thought, maybe in the future, just keep my head away from the spray, just in case, but it was a good thing for me to remember so that I can tell it now. It seems like a small thing, but it relates to me and other people doing things involuntarily, like compulsively or, so compulsive behavior and or involuntary behavior, like reacting to something like that. Okay. It was inevitable, and it happened, and I was, like I said, had a sore neck for at least 2 weeks. But keep in mind that notion of involuntary reactionary behavior. And the fact that I wanted to be like the Boo. The most affectionate cat I've ever known in my life. But on his terms. always on his terms. Got to remember those details are important. All right, so, and over the last few days, there's this notion of waterfall. And of course, there's a song, don't go chasing waterfalls, stick to the rivers and the stream you're used to. The thing is, man, in my life, that's all I've done. That's all I've done is chasing waterfalls, man. That's all I've done is chasing waterfalls, man. Chasing waterfalls. The whole time I was with Jackie, chasing waterfalls. I knew a girl, Tammy. She was like my dream girl, physically my dream girl, maybe emotionally my dream girl, probably in bed my dream girl. The thing is, I never had the courage to ask her out. I never, ever had the courage to ask her out because I was afraid of rejection. My attraction for her was involuntary. It was totally involuntary. And she seemed to have an attraction or affinity for me as well. There's a side story that relates to her manager. She used to work at a Publix in Hayward, not too far from where I lived. And we'd flirt every time that we'd see each other. And I had this, I think, erroneous idea, even quite recently, that she used me. She used me to what? Let her manager know that she was not interested in him. Well, we know as Americans that we're not supposed to date. The proper thing to do if you're going to date a coworker is one of you should leave the job. The proper thing to do, in an American style. There's many organizations that just do not like it. They just do not like, especially when one is a supervisor, right? So if her manager wanted to date her, many people would see that as, like an improper use of his authority, like he's overstepping his authority. He's dating one of his, the most attractive girl in the store. The thing is, and it's not about her being 17, that's irrelevant in this story. I felt like she liked me better than him, okay? But again, I didn't have the courage to ask her out. Yeah, officially I was with Jackie, and, chasing waterfalls my whole life, not just with Jackie. From my current perspective, Tammy was a waterfall, but not unreachable. My own fear of failure stopped me from asking her out. There's nothing in my mind right now that that I could stop me, except what? Two fears, that she would reject me, and even a worse fear that Jackie would find out that I asked her out, and then, make my life hell from then on, right? Okay, neither one of those fears, I think, is very well grounded in reality, okay? Either Jackie would have reacted, she's way out of your league, or Sam, you know what, I had my eye on this other guy all along, and you should have went for her when you had the chance, man. Considering what happened afterwards, so we didn't stay together, of course. We stayed together for a couple of years later, but it just got sort of worse and worse in a sense. I felt more and more like a prisoner, and I felt like eventually she wanted, to start a family with me, and we were both, in our late 20s, maybe? And, it's time to shit or get off the pot, man. Time to shit or get off the pot. And if I'm going to use that analogy, we know from the films, it's not a very pretty analogy, right? It's time to shit or get off the pot, man. It's time to shit. In other words, have kids with Jackie or break up. The thing is, every relationship after her turned out to be pretty much not as good. With a younger woman, another waterfall type person for me, and trying to make something happen that was never going to happen. You know, to have a relationship as equals, like me and Jackie did, around the same age, both from Michigan, both relocated to California. We had the best of all the women in my life. We had the best chances of a successful marriage or relationship, or even to have children with, than the women afterwards. Yui, Grace. In reality, zero chances of success in the long run. In reality, zero chances of success in the long run. So why did I bring up the two stories in the beginning about the boo? Because I wanted to be like the boo, man. I still want to be like the boo. I still want to be like the boo. Affectionate and on my terms. Affectionate and on my terms. I still want to be like the boo. And the dishwasher thing, well, it was just a demonstration about what? Sometimes we act compulsively, or what do you call it? Not autonomically. You know, we just react, and there's no way to change, you know, that. My reaction to Tammy, she's a goddess, an ultra goddess, and I wanted to be with her, you know, in every way possible, you know, spiritually at that time, spiritually, physically, everything. I wanted to belong to her, and I wanted her to belong to me, you know, like to have a spiritual relationship, you know. But the thing is, what? She was a little bit younger than me, just a little bit. What, about 10 years younger? It's possible. It's possible. But less likely than me and Jackie. I spent, you know, I turned on the recorder basically because I wanted to talk about the waterfall thing for me, because I have a feeling that that happens for guys and women, but mostly guys, you know, from my, because I'm a guy and I'm familiar with, you know, myself as a straight guy, that I know my waterfall type, man. It's like Tammy. It's like, I mean, I could go through, you know, a list of women who are my type and who I would call maybe a waterfall at this time. But what does the waterfall in the song mean? In the song? Sometimes batting out of your league, I guess. Sometimes that expression. Or if you try to grab a waterfall, or you want to be with a waterfall, I mean, how can you be with a waterfall? I mean, you can take a bath in a waterfall, you can enjoy the waterfall, but the waterfall typically does not belong to anybody. Typically, a waterfall does not belong to anybody. So in the song, I think that's kind of what they're trying to say, right? Don't go chasing waterfalls, stick to rivers and the streams you used to. You are used to, that you're familiar with, that you actually can have a real relationship with. How can the fuck can you have a relationship with a waterfall? Yeah. Sometimes it's dry, right? Sometimes the waterfall ain't there, right? Sometimes the waterfall ain't there, man. When it's really dry, the waterfall dries up, man. And people have to find a waterfall somewhere else, man. So it's not a bad analogy for something that is, you know, like not meant to be, is unsustainable. Okay, well, here's another example. A very, very rich man finding but he's super ugly, okay? Super ugly and crappy in bed. He's super ugly and crappy in bed, and he's straight. And he's in love with a Marilyn Monroe type, and he's super rich. And he can essentially, you know, buy her, you know, purchase her. But how long is that going to last, man? How long is that going to last? But that gets back to the waterfall notion, man. In a sense, he what? He purchased the waterfall. If he's ugly and he's crappy in bed, that's the worst part, right? It's not the fact that he's ugly, because he could have a really beautiful heart and be extremely, what do you call it? There's be a lot of women on this planet that would love the guy for the fact that he's got a beautiful heart and he's got money. Who cares if he's ugly? Who cares if he's got a small dick and doesn't know how to use it? The thing is, man, where am I going with this? Yeah, it's a good question. The thing is, I'm trying to create a persona that, that can't find a woman, but the thing is, I'm pretty sure she can find him. I'm pretty sure she can find him. Right now, I'm homeless, physically moderately attractive. Girls flirt with me of all ages, especially in the Philippines, of all ages, anywhere, actually. Doesn't matter in the Philippines or in America. I'm moderately attractive at my age, moderately attractive, and girls want to flirt with me no matter what age they are, for whatever reasons. All that feel good in the moment stuff. Waterfalls, yeah. Are they waterfalls? I don't know, man. They're just human beings, man. I don't, the analogy works when you're trying to teach something to yourself and to others. Like, don't make the same mistakes that I did, kind of thing. But they break down eventually. The analogies and metaphors break down eventually, and you're stuck with the real person. Let's say you hook up with a waterfall, and in the moment, it's like she's glamorous. She's like an ultra goddess, and like, wow, man, I've never been with a woman like it's great sex, great in the bedroom and everything, and I never want to leave the bedroom. But the novelty wears off, and you realize she's just a human being, just like anybody else, with needs and aspirations and dreams and goals. And she's no different from anybody else, man. Just somehow you glamorized her, and we call it, inflated her, initial meeting. And people do that with each other all the time, right? I mean, they do that all the time when falling in love, or whatever you want to call it, infatuation, whatever you want to call it, man. People do it, on a daily basis. I mean, maybe not the same person, but it happens all the time. Especially to what? Celebrities, right? Oh, and us average people, it happens all the time when you got your eyes open and your heart open and you're willing to interact and flirt, man. It can happen anytime, any moment. There was a young lady in Pena, legal, by the way, and we had a ride together on a shuttle bus downtown, and she was giggling and laughing with her friend. And I called her. I never got her name. I never got her telephone number, partially because I don't have the courage to do that. So yeah, I'm all so terrified of rejection that, and also there's this other notion of why not just enjoy it for what it was, It was sweet. It was non-sexual. It was non-sexual, very sweet. Our hips kind of bumped the whole ride. And in a sense, we were kind of together, not together. She was more together, officially together with her girlfriend right in front of her. But, and a lot of giggling, a lot of fun, In other words, how do you like your new boyfriend kind of thing, in their language, right? He's okay, he's all right. A little bit old for me, but, hey, I like him, how he makes me feel. Makes me feel alive again, just like I obviously make him feel. The thing is, people assume that can't happen in an old relationship or a relationship that has been together for many years. My old friend from Michigan is John. He called the first 5 years of marriage the honeymoon. The thing is, man, if it was me, I would never want the honeymoon to ever end, man. Not really. And never be afraid, never not be afraid of losing her. I mean, if she was a real catch, so to speak, and to use a colloquialism, if she was a real catch, and she felt the same way about me, man, we would never want to lose that. We would never want to lose that, and we'd never want to be, what do you call, comfortable, and never not be afraid to lose the other person. You know, if I was giving dating advice or marriage advice, that would be right there, man. That would be all that stuff right there, and I should have titled it that, but you know, whatever. The thing is, it happened spontaneously, and it's from my heart. I think, you know, it's easy to say cliches like "don't lose the magic," but you know, that's so general. You know, whatever the magic is, man. You know, it could be different. You know, it's going to be different from every couple, and even the same person involved with another person later on in life. It's going to be different every time, isn't it? Every person's different. I met a young lady this morning. You could say she made eyes at me, and we were happy. We were happy. I saw her again later on, and she totally ignored me. The thing is, man, it doesn't matter. We had our moment. We had our moment. And it was ours, and we owned it. And no one could interfere. People walking by, they could, you know, they looked at me differently. Wow, look at this man. Wow, look at this man. Look at this man. And she smiled. An older woman walked by and gave me this beautiful smile. And I'm like, wow, all of a sudden, you know, I'm a man again. I'm desirable. I'm not a homeless man. I'm a man. And I'm desirable. You know, it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Those two things, just, and very brief. And it's in the past. It's gone. But at the same time, it's part of my memory. And I could tell you the story and fit it all in. Chase those waterfalls. Go for it, man. Go all in. Chase those waterfalls and go all in. Sink your lifetime savings, you know, go all in. Trust completely. Go all in. Give yourself, you know, completely trust. They might stab you in the back. You never know. It could go the other way, man. It could be the first time in their lives. It could be with a celebrity. It could be, you know, with someone who's never felt like they ever been trusted in their lives. You know, I was going to say, you know, part of before I turn on the recorder, I was going to try to say the opposite, right? You know, be careful, be wary. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Maybe you should. See what it's like. Whatever a waterfall is to you, man, go for it. Man or woman, guy or gal. Go chasing waterfalls. You might end up different, man. You never know. If you're all in, man, if you're all in, maybe they're all in too. You never know, man. You never know. And after a few kids, you know, you realize, this is not, you know, family life is not, you know, for, you know, what if you're both waterfalls, you know, and one waterfall for the other, and it's like after a couple kids together, it's like, yeah, I'm not so sure this is what waterfalls are supposed to start having babies, you know, because, you know, the kids are probably not going to be waterfalls, you know, they're going to like the waterfalls, but they're not going to want to be a waterfall like mom and dad, you know, because they're crazy, acting like teenagers all the time, always running to the bedroom, you know, fighting and then breaking up and having make-up sex, you know, all the time, and, you know, hanging off the chandelier and shit, you know, acting all crazy like Salvatore did recently. You know, whether you live in a delusional world like Salvatore did in the last 2.5 years or not, you know, whether you're grounded in reality or not, you know, there is one realization I realized quite recently. Life is for having fun, man. Life is for having fun. Look, I used to have this, there's an age-old argument This is a classic argument between me and Nana, an old girlfriend. She argued, her side of the argument was, we come here to learn. And my side of the argument is, no, we come here to share experiences with those we love. And she said, her response was, well, maybe you came here to learn that. Fuck, man. I think the last thing that I said trumps it all, man. Let's just have fun, man. Let's just have fun. Fuck it, man. Life is too short, man. Life is too fucking short. Let's just fucking have fun. Let's have fun, man. Let's have fun.